Welcome back to the Blindsiders. I'm Ben. I'm joined with Dylan and Brian, and we are here to talk about episode 7 of Survivor 43. We did miss episode 6 last week because we all kind of were in all kinds of different sorts. A lot of multiple reasons why that
Quite
episode,
frankly, we just didn't earn
over.
it.
Yeah, we didn't earn the merge.
Mm,
We lost the challenge.
yep. We
Yeah.
lost the podcasting challenge and we had to sit out a week. So, but we're back now for this episode of Survivor 43, which definitely was an episode for sure.
Yep. I definitely would prefer to talk about last week, I think.
Yeah.
Well, I guess let's we could quickly do that. Last week, good episode. Loved it.
Yeah, it's good.
Gabler, Team Gabler, let's go. Loved it. Big episode for us, Team Gabler guys.
Yeah. I don't know. What would be the acronym for those?
Well, I think they
Or
would
the,
call themselves the alligablers, like he's called himself alligator. Right?
The alligators. Perfect.
I don't know if I'm Team Gabler. I'm Team Good TV, and he's chaotic and is causing good TV, or at least did last week.
Yeah.
But I wouldn't say I'm rooting for Gabler.
I was never a big fan of Ellie just because I hate when other people treat people stupid for no reason.
Mm.
And they did that with Gabler, and obviously it came back to bite her. I miss Ellie in the sense that I actually really liked her and Gabler's kind of little rivalry that they had going on for seemingly no reason other than they just annoyed each other. And yeah, that was great. And also, getting caught going through someone's bag and then denying it, I'm also, I'm not a fan of. I mean, she's not going to own up to it, especially at, the pre-merge. But yeah, I was very pleased with the outcome last week. I will miss that little rivalry him and Ellie had, and also Ellie thinking that she's the top dog of Survivor when clearly she wasn't. So I'll miss that. But other than that, I thought it was a very good episode and a whole different tone than what we got this week.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, we lost scuffed Michelle Fitzgerald, unfortunately, but it is what it is.
Look, I love Ellie as a character. That's still look, she's like honestly more so than Angelina, because I know I compared her to Angelina. I think that the most apt recent comparison would be Tori Meehan. I think is the most direct comparison. Somebody who didn't play Survivor well for barely a single minute of her entire existence on the show, while simultaneously thinking that she was a mastermind because she has psychology experience or something, and then gets unceremoniously booted early merge, or I guess early merge. That was technically a merge according to Survivor, for seemingly no super rational reason other than everyone just kind of was oh, we're done with you. You service no purpose, and you're a name that we're okay with. So yeah, very similar arc to Tori, and that in a lot of seasons you might expect this player to kind of be the Angelina at the end, and in both of those cases with Tori and with Ellie here, it got, in my opinion, earlier than I expected them to.
So what you're saying is we're not going to see her on the White Lotus season 3, unlike Angelina, who was on the White Lotus season 2 this week.
Well, we'll see if Mike White dips into any non-David versus Goliath castmates, because I think that Hera also was on, from what I have been told.
Yep.
I haven't watched it.
And Alec was on the season before.
Yeah, and Alec Molina, yeah. So maybe when he runs out of his own castmates, he'll start dipping into other seasons.
Very funny that he hasn't put any of the Davids on that season or on his show. It's nope, sorry, Goliaths only.
The Goliaths are already pre-made stars, right? That's kind of the whole
true.
point.
That's true.
Yeah.
Oh man. Anyways, White Lotus season 2, episode 1, very good. Worth your time. Yeah, so this episode, I didn't think it was very good, guys. Unlike the White Lotus season 2, episode 1, I just thought it was a lot of, nothing, or maybe not nothing, but I have a big complaint on how Survivor like keeps us in the dark. I don't think that's a good way, and I've complained about this on this show, and obviously Survivor's not watching it because they're not going to change it. They don't give a shit, but I just, dude, I hate the current way Survivor's edited. Like, just give us a coherent story. Like, it's fine if we're not in the dark on every vote. Like, it's okay. But Survivor's not that. And I mean, the real surprising, or like surprise, is like it came down to Ryan or Dwight, but the episode pitched it as James or Dwight. So like when it's coming down to, oh, is it Ryan or Dwight? It's Dwight, obviously. Or it's Ryan, and then they just completely gave up on trying to like tell a narrative at all. Am I wrong here? Am I being unfair?
Well, I think the reason that ended up happening was because so 3 people flipped, right? Dwight thought that 2 people flipped. 3 people actually flipped, which wasn't even again told in the narrative. We were shown the setup for Cody and Jesse flipping, but we saw in the votes that were shown at the end of the episode that Sammy also flipped and voted correctly. So I think that just comes down to like 2 of the 3 of them were supposed to vote for Ryan with the split vote plan. So yeah, I agree. It was very obvious that Dwight was going, at least to me. But like, so it's almost worse because they sacrificed coherent storytelling for essentially nothing, because it wasn't like that. Like it wasn't that much of a blindside for me that Dwight ended up going here. And on top of that, we get very little explanation of kind of what Cody and Jesse's long-term plans would be with riding with this new group. And we have no explanation whatsoever as to how Sammy was included in the plan. And we get a preview at the end of like, oh, this is the new 7, the 7 who voted correctly, which is Coco plus Cody and Jesse plus Sammy. But like, there's no like relevant storytelling that has set that up in any way. So it's just odd.
Yeah, I fall probably somewhere in the middle in terms of the episode. Parts of it I found really entertaining, but like you, I found a lot of the production stuff really frustrating, especially spending the like 40 minutes we spent at the immunity challenge.
Yeah,
that was a little.
Yeah.
That was
fucking
a little
call
much.
him out, Dylan. That was egregious.
That way, and I thought it was actually a decent challenge. I got secondhand claustrophobia watching them go through the nets, especially for Noelle, and it like almost gave me a panic attack. So I didn't really like that. I did like the premise of having, working with a teammate and then eventually having to go against them if you win. I did like that. I like Team Gabler, so I liked some of the Gabler stuff. I don't know if we needed, all 20 of the inspirations that we got from him. I was getting a little annoyed. I can't imagine how Cody must have felt being in the challenge against him. So that was tough. And before I knew it, it was like 8:40 by the time that was over. And then we had maybe that was probably the quickest pre-tribal time we've spent in an episode, I think maybe ever. We had maybe like 5 to 8 minutes tops, and obviously before that there was really no other camp life anywhere else in that episode, so that stuck. And then I completely agree too, just narratively it kind of is all over the place because it was set up for us that Cody and Jesse were going to vote for Dwight, but it wasn't set up for anybody else. And I obviously we saw that Jesse likes Carla a lot. Obviously, I think Carla and James are still pretty tight. So, I mean, that's like a path to how they link up. But yeah, there was absolutely no discussion showing us how any of that came together. I was actually the opposite. As soon as Ryan's name got thrown out there, I was actually very confused with what was going on because up until that point, I agree. I thought Dwight was going. and I was completely lost on that. And then obviously Sammy flipping. So I mean that stuck, and especially because like I've been praising this season. I've loved the season, but this I think was their first, probably arguably bad episode. So that's unfortunate, and I'm really not a fan at all of Dwight also not making final council. That is that doesn't make any sense to me, and it's disappointing because now we have two people that should be on there that aren't. So I don't know. Yeah, I'm with you guys. I'm hoping it's just a one-off bad episode, but it seems like they omitted so many stuff to purposely like blindside us, which I don't like.
No.
So I'm right there with you on that point.
Yeah. What with Gabler's inspirations, and he's playing for Survivor for everyone he's met in his entire life, which good for him. If I was on Survivor, I'd be playing for my bank account and nothing else. Like, I wouldn't be out there to suffer on anyone else's behalf. But if he's gonna use everyone in his life as inspiration, fine, I guess. I did think it was funny the way he like phrased it. It's like, I care about veterans because a lot of people I'm related to served, not me, but you know, it's like, okay, that's kind of a lot of people. Gabler, it's not like that unique to have your uncles and like grandparents you served, but all right, I dig it.
Yeah, I mean, it definitely, if we're going back to some of the David versus Goliath comparisons, it was very Christian-esque.
Yeah, shades of
challenge.
Christian.
Yeah, shades of Christian, Hibiki there, where I didn't know whether I was supposed to like be like, yeah, go Gabler, or like laugh at him. I just didn't know what they were going for. It was very weird.
He was very like coach-esque to me. It's like it really is. You don't know whether to laugh or be like, "Oh yeah, fuck yeah, Gabler." It's tough. Yeah.
This guy has people's lives in his hands as a surgeon. Just don't forget that.
I think he is showing. He is showing. I think he's a little bit better at the game between the past two episodes. He pulled that move against Ellie. He won the first immunity.
Listen, Gabler's going to go very far. I don't necessarily think Gabler can win the game.
I don't think
he's in this for the long haul.
I would like to see Gabler play a round of Survivor where he's not immune before I say anything about his capacity as a game player, because that has not happened yet.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I don't think he like realizes the like consequences of his actions, because like Owen is 100% out on him like so hard. I feel like Gabler's like, yeah, Owen and I are so close, like we're best friends, and Owen's like, I hate this guy so much, I want to vote him off.
I also liked the interesting dichotomy of him giving a confessional, the Al Gabler confessional, about like, now it's time to sink below the surface again. Immediately cuts to him winning like a record-breaking, grueling immunity challenge in front of everybody.
Yeah.
And as he's like listing off all of the important people in his life and how great this, like how important this game is to him, and it's like, okay, well, you set up a good idea in your confessional and then immediately did the exact opposite. So I don't really know what to think about that. It seems like he doesn't really have a plan other than just like whatever is on the top of his mind at that exact moment.
Yeah. Why did he tell people about his idol that was expired also? That was the point. Why not?
About it.
I'm at least glad that was answered, because I left last week not sure if his idol still was active or not, because technically he wasn't up to be voted out.
Yeah, that's a good point, Dylan, that he was immune because of the twist. So it could have, I get like Survivor Production could have made a case for it still being active, but it's fine. He won immunity anyway, so it doesn't matter.
I didn't even see anything on the internet like confirming it either, so I think other people were equally as confused.
I think the wording is like the first two tribal councils you attend, right? So he did attend the tribal council. He was just immune for it. So either way, like the idol served the purpose for him of him not being the third boot or whatever. Right? Like that was the like otherwise he would have been probably in a lot of danger. Oh no, he would have been it would have been the first boot, right? They were the yeah, they voted on Mariah first. So yeah. It served its purpose in making him not the first boot.
Definitely. So I mean, there's not much to talk about because of the lack of editing, it's showing us, and then the lack of, like Dylan said, camp life. I mean, I did think it was funny. Was it Owen and Dwight in the beginning of the episode just like talking openly in front of everybody? It was like, okay, it makes it seem like they're like 2 feet away. Are they really that close? But I think they were. That was very interesting. There's obviously a lot of trust happening with they're
much
giving each other idols and advantages, and Jesus Christ, guys, like, shut up about your advantages and idols. Just shut up.
I think that's the main takeaway from this, other than like meta reasons why we're not liking the show. Well, I guess not meta, but other than production reasons not liking the show, is just the absolute ineptitude to keep any sort of secrets to yourself. That was a big word. I would never use ineptitude before. Hopefully I used it right there.
Nailed it.
And James, I like James. I'm not convinced he's like a good player, but I'm convinced that maybe he is. And tonight maybe solidified he's not. But he's also just part of that curse, or the knowledge is power curse, which is like immediately you get it, you have to tell someone. He could have said anything. He could have just said, "Oh, I didn't take it." He could have started that whole thing because they didn't make it seem like anybody saw him go in there and take it. So I don't know. He could have lied, said he had an idol. I don't know. Like literally the way that has the most power is by not telling anybody, and to like just figure out who has an idol or an advantage. So that was very frustrating. And then everybody just for no reason just start handing off their idols to everybody. It was crazy, and I feel so bad for Janine, but at the same time, I don't think she's a good player. So it's tough to watch because that sucks. I didn't want it to happen to me, but at the same time, I'm also just not giving up my idols or advantages like that. So that stinks. She's in a very, very bad place because of that.
Yeah, I think it did answer a question that I've wondered for years and years: is if once the votes are being read, are you locked in to everything on your person you have to keep? You cannot pass idols, which I assumed was the case. But I think this like really like 100% confirmed it in my mind because it was not his idol at all. So if ever there was going to be a past idol, it was going to be this, and he seemingly didn't. It didn't show him doing it. So I feel like that is a rule that once like the votes start being read, you can't like take idols out and give them to other people, which is good. Good to know that.
Yeah, 100%. I mean, the thing with Janine here is like we talk about like not using episode time efficiently, and like I appreciated kind of the segment at the top of the hour that we got with Janine, but it felt very undercut by the end of the episode because we essentially got like a 5 to 7 minute segment of Janine trying to like rebuild social connections and be like, hey, Ellie was dragging me down. I'm like a huge asset now. I'm a free agent, right? Yeah, it looked like she was doing a good job of like kind of rebuilding those social connections. But then by the end of the episode, she's blindsided in the vote again and has now essentially thrown her idol away. So I don't know what we're doing with that. Like I don't.
Well, not essentially. She did. She did throw her idol away. Sure.
I mean, look. I think there are more direct ways that people in Survivor history have thrown their idols away. She thought that she was protecting her idol, but she was protecting it in the fire. So, like, let me put the idol in the fire so that it won't wash away the sea. Yeah. So I don't know where the show is kind of going with Janine's story really, and like where she's really going as a player. And maybe they're still trying to set her up for this kind of underdog arc where uh, eventually she'll be in a power position. Uh, but it just felt really weird for like I was like, yeah, go Janine, you can turn this around, and then she didn't, and she didn't in like one of the most egregious ways possible, and I was like, okay, well, I guess I invested my my energy into the wrong person there, despite the show trying to push me to invest my energy into that person for this episode.
I do think the one thing she has going for her is what we said earlier, is that there really is no clear like strong alliance that we have going, even if they're going to trying to show us that the 7 that voted together tonight are actually together. So I think that she has that going for her. I mean, I will say that if she does somehow like pull it together and makes Final Tribal, then that would be very, very impressive, and certainly a winner's arc, even with some unfortunate and bad decisions early on. So yeah, I mean, I guess Erica 2 seasons ago, she kind of really came out of nowhere after kind of being on the bottom most of the game. So it's not completely out of the realm, but yeah, I have a really hard time seeing her path to victory at this point, especially because I mean she's arguably at the very, very bottom now. So that'd be tough. I'm like even trying to think now. I'm trying to think of who voted for who, and it's just like I really can't think.
Janine
Well,
and Dwight voted together.
Yeah.
And then who are the 7?
Gabler and Owen also voted with them alongside the split.
Voting for Ryan.
Those
Okay.
were the 5 who voted wrong.
Yeah. Okay, and the other 7 all voted together.
Yes. So the 4 people who are left who were blindsided, presumably, are Owen, Gabler, Noelle, and Janine. And it seems like of that crew, Noelle's probably in the worst spot, given that like Dwight was her probably closest
Yeah, that's
ally.
true.
So
Yeah.
like they were essentially targeting, like the argument was, oh, we're going to target Dwight to so that we can weaken Noelle. And I never really get this argument. Like the like, oh, we should vote X person out to weaken Y, when you can just simply vote Y out. And there's not really like a compelling reason to not vote Y out.
Yeah, the only reason for a move like this is if it's like you're Tony and you have an ally like Sarah who's also strongly allied to Sophie, and you're like, I don't want to compete for Sarah. It's like, friendship in this game. I need to get rid of Sophie to like, it weakens the position, but you can't like, if you just, like you said, Ben, if you're going to target someone, just vote them out. It's not that hard.
I do also want to point out too that this is toothpaste, not a cum stain. I know how the internet works. So I just want to call that out. I like caught it in my eye earlier, and I can't stop looking at it. Yeah, I guess the argument for Jesse is that he wanted to like prove to Cody that he's willing to work, but like I assumed that they were already really close before that anyway. So if you were hellbent on getting Noelle out, you should have went for it. And I'm like waiting for Jesse to kind of have his big breakout episode, and I don't think this was it. Because we didn't see anything he did. Maybe when we start next week, we'll get like a 5-minute recap of what went on. But I'm like waiting for Jesse to break out because, like we said, he was the one most heavily promoted going into the season, along with like Carla, and Owen. I think Owen was the other one that was like heavily. Regardless, I'm waiting for him to do something because I think as of right now, I guess like if I really had to choose, I really still like Carla a lot because I think that she's maybe in the background, but we're still getting enough of her. Like Cassidy, for example. I once again completely forgot she's even in the show because I think she said 2 words this week. So that's another like clear edit that that's another player I'd be shocked if she won just because based on the edit she's getting. So Carla and maybe Cody are my two potential people that I think are the favorites right now, edit wise. So
Hey,
yeah.
at least Cassidy has. I saw on Facebook it was like an ad for Survivor, and it's just a picture of her, and it's like, "How about this for a reward?" I was like, "Hey, whoa, what the fuck is happening?" So at least Cassidy has that going for her.
Okay.
Horny Facebook, yeah, that
But
is
yeah,
really something.
it may have been for Paramount Plus, or like a deal with Paramount Plus, but I just remember thinking this is the most bizarre ad. It's just a picture of her,
Yeah.
nothing else, not even like strictly like this is Survivor. It's
Yeah.
just her.
Not even like the whole cast or like,
Mm-hmm.
yeah, it's very I either bad but intentional or a complete somebody's like, probably got talking to about that in some kind
Yeah,
of a
right.
somebody had like an HR visit from the ad
Mm-hmm.
team.
Hey, it
Um
was a big week for talking about inspiration. Horniness is a big inspiration for a lot of people, unfortunately. So
well, I don't recall. I mean, maybe that was one of the things that was skipped over in the Gabler montage.
you're right. Yeah, this is for how horny I am. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Mhm.
So starts talking about like hookups from back in the day. Motivating is like, all right, we're cutting that for sure. But thanks, Gabler.
This minute is for my one night stand from 1997.
Yep. Oh man, we're besmirching the good name of one Gabler.
Yeah.
Here, we're playing with
Shouldn't.
fire. No,
Shouldn't. Watch
I
out.
mean,
he could
is
be
it
operating on
we're
you someday.
besmirching him? We're besmirching him because we're saying he pulls? Like, come on.
That's fair. Yeah, he pulls for sure. You know, there's some weird girl that just super into to that.
Um, no, but yeah, I mean, I I feel like with the preview for next week, we're kind of getting a setup of like a Jesse versus Sammy potentially,
Hmm.
where like they've been sort of on the same page, but like I think that Sammy's kind of just been following along tentatively until he like sees an opening to do something about it. And I think that maybe we have this kind of like war between the two of them where they both end up getting taken out very dramatically. And then you have like Carla behind the scenes playing the strings who picks up the pieces. Like that's something I could potentially see. But right now, like those are kind of the three people who I can see winning the game at this point. Uh, like Cody's been present, and he's like definitely been like socially and strategically involved, but it feels like everything he does gets undercut in a confessional by Jesse. So I just really can't see that being a narrative that the show wants to push. Like they would I think give Cody a lot more credit for what he's doing if he were the
Hmm.
winner. So I think at this point the winner is Carla, Sammy, or Jesse. But who knows? The last two seasons, like we've said, have had winners that kind of at the final six or so come out of the woodwork and have like a really big coming out. So
Yeah. Well, yeah, we'll have to see that. I think Sammy's just too young to pull this to thread this needle with the finesse that it needs.
um yeah, maybe. I mean, I did say pretty early on that I didn't think anybody from that tribe was winning.
Yeah.
But I've been consistently praising Sammy, kind of like passive aggressively that I've been praising him. I think that if I think he's probably one of the more capable players that fall into that like young player category
Mhm.
that we've seen.
Agreed.
So I think that his age hasn't really been a factor, from my opinion, so far. It seems like it hasn't really gotten in the way of him forming social bonds or him like being taken seriously as a player. So
Mhm.
at this point, like I don't really, it's not really like calculation for me. It's not
Mhm.
like, oh yeah, he's 19. I mean, we've had like a few 21-year-olds win this game at this point. Like it's not
Sure. Yeah.
that far off. Like I don't think that's like that big of a deal.
Yeah. Well,
Yeah.
we'll have to see. I just know I wouldn't be able to pull off this at 19. I definitely would have thought I would have been able to, and I definitely
Oh, for
wouldn't
sure.
have
But like, I
been
mean,
able to.
I couldn't have pulled it off at 21. So like, but
Right.
like there are players who have. So, it would be cool like to have like a new youngest winner.
Mhm.
It'd be fun.
Mhm.
I think a lot of long nights in the pet crematory will
Just
mature me
planning,
rather
plotting.
fast.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. 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 Chucking animals into the
Yeah, I think
incinerator.
you age up real quick
That's fair.
when you're
That's
throwing just a 13-year-old chihuahua into the fire as you're like
Jesus Christ.
having your lunch.
hmm Yeah, it's gotta be like the medical examiner in like every movie now, where they're just like eating a hoagie while talking about someone dying horrifically. Like, oh, you're really desensitized, I guess.
Oh, it's my lunch.
Yeah.
It's lunchtime.
Oh man.
Halloween is over. Come on.
Us cremators got to eat too.
hmm
Yeah, that's like every movie like that. It's
Oh man, it was a good show up. The first time someone thought of it, everyone after that who's a writer was like, "Perfect. That's what I will also do." Yeah. Other than that, I don't have much else to say about this episode personally.
I'm very disappointed with Dwight not being
On the
not being
jury, yeah.
Jerry. Yeah, Jerry. I think I've been saying final counsel the whole night.
That's fine.
The jury. Because I also think like we knew Ellie wasn't going to be on it, but I also think Ellie would have been a really good person to have on there at the end. But Dwight, that's like I saw him comment in the Reddit post episode discussion too. Of like, oh, you can update the jury the jury non with some web page. Yeah, that I don't agree with that. I don't understand it. Like, is there's now like a minimum or a limit on how many can be on a jury? I didn't know that. So
No, hey, the Winners at War jury had straight up like 16 people on it. Like this is, I think you could have let Dwight be on the jury, Jeff.
How many are left now? 11.
11.
Yeah.
It's gonna be 3 and 8.
Wow, they love doing that, and it's the worst like number combination. I feel like it lends itself.
Tie.
Yeah, they wanted to tie. You're right. They do.
Yeah. It was like the one interesting thing that happened.
No, we also got Chris Noble's rap at Ponderosa.
Of course. Well, they deleted that from the internet, so
yeah. Oh yeah, they did. They like. Yeah. This is a horrible idea. Fire whoever had a part in this and delete it.
Do you think a more interesting approach to that would have been if they had done that live instead of having her vote there on the island?
I think it breaks the integrity of the game because, like,
I guess,
the edit really like would sway you one way or another. I feel like it would be hard to like perfectly, evenly edit Wendell and Dom. You know.
Well, I don't. I think that everyone and their mother knew that she was going to vote for Wendell, right? So
yeah,
like,
that's true.
I don't think it mattered in that specific case. Like, I think in a future case it could. But like, I think everybody on the jury. I think the final 3 all knew. You know, everybody on production. Everybody knew when the tie came through, and they were like, "Oh, Laurel's breaking the tie." At the time, I was like, "Oh, okay, Wendell won." I don't have to sit here for 3 minutes on pins and needles.
Do we think that most of the time when they do live when they read the votes that the winners usually like know by that point?
I think you probably get a vibe based on Final Tribal Council of like how it went.
Especially for the ones that air in the spring. Like it's been almost an entire year since you played. I feel like between going to like social things for Survivor and stuff like that, I feel like it's bound to be like, oh, yeah, maybe I did vote for you. That type thing.
Yeah, I mean, I guess it doesn't matter anymore. I guess they're not doing reunions anymore. But yeah, I think at the time, like the only one I know of was like the cast of Samoa just straight up lied to one of the finalists and told him that he won, when he did not win.
Yeah, it's happened. This happened a couple of times from because you've seen Philippines, right, Dylan?
So I usually go by numbered season. So which season would that be?
25.
Yeah, yep.
Okay. Yeah. So I know famously, Mike Scoopin.
Redacted. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah,
redacted.
yeah. We'll block that out.
Yeah.
Was going around
Keep it.
during that, like the lead up to that finale, saying that he was like certain that he won, whether due to his own distorted ego or because people lied to him. I'm not sure. Because I think everyone at the point should have known this. Like, it was obvious to me watching at the time that Denise won. So there's definitely cases where I at least know of cases of losing finalists thinking that they won when they didn't. I think for most cases, the winners usually have a pretty good idea that they won.
Russell's very first season, did he genuinely think he was going to win? And like,
yeah, he was the one that I mentioned.
Oh, okay, yeah.
They lied to him.
Oh, so they actually had told him that they had voted for him, and that okay, that's funny.
Yep. Yeah, they really didn't like Russell, I guess.
I guess not.
Which is hilarious because then he went on to play Heroes versus Villains, thinking he won
season,
Samoa and did not change anything that he did.
That's okay. Actually, in hindsight, now that makes a lot of sense.
He doubled down.
He somehow made it worse.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Wow. Because he had mentions how he was immediately going from one season to another, but I guess like I didn't realize it was like quite that immediate, and I didn't even put together that he wouldn't have even have gone.
Yeah, it was like 2 weeks or something between the seasons. He lost, like, not to get too on tangent, but he lost so much weight from Samoa Day 1 to Heroes versus Villains Day 39.
Like
insane.
Pounds, crazy.
Oh my god.
Something crazy like that,
yeah.
Yeah,
Because he was. Yeah, no, he really does by the end of it. So that is always when people are like, is Survivor real? That's what I like. So either they made this guy do P90X for like 5 months straight, or like Survivor is real.
Coach had posted a picture today of him on his first stint, and I forgot how like actually thin he got.
In Tocantins, he really, because he came in pretty skinny too.
Yeah,
and like he really wasted away.
Yep, it's it's a rough game, and they've made it harder, which is like they were like, we've talked about before, they shortened the days, but they made it harder.
Yeah,
physically.
That's also something they've completely gone away from, is like how desperate they are for food and stuff like that now. That's been like completely just thrown away in terms of being discussed on the show. Like, oh, this is the hardest Survivor ever, but it's like, well, we're not really not seeing it.
Yeah, now it's like, yeah, this is Survivor now.
And I do want to be very clear. I'm still very high on this season. I am bummed it was a bad episode, but like I won't all of a sudden start piling on the season that I've actually been praising for the most part. I still think it's up there, but I mean, you can't avoid the errors tonight.
Yeah.
Yeah. I still think the cast is pretty strong. I'd say it's like an above average cast. It's like a little top heavy, with like maybe like 4 or 5 kind of like really heavy hitter cast members. Yeah, my biggest complaint was like the storytelling and editing, and also like Jeff, again, as he's done the last 3 seasons, being very present in a lot of moments that it's like, this probably would be better if it breathed without Jeff like going on some kind of metaphorical monologue, or like, at Tribal Council, taking somebody's analogy and then turning it into his own analogy because he didn't like their analogy.
Yeah.
So many fucking analogies.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Do you guys have anything else you want to add?
That's it for me. Like I said, bad episode, but I think it's a one-off. I think we're gonna continue strong season. Hopefully, we're like at a real actual merge next week, and we get a real jury and start that whole process.
Hopefully, that'd be nice. Get this going.
And then I want like 5 more knowledge's powers to be thrown out there.
Yeah. Well, it is. Yeah, it is like the advantage they're most desperate to make work. Like they want it so bad.
Well,
I almost for shits and giggles wanted James to be voted
Yeah.
out to see if they brought it back.
I did as well. I didn't think it was gonna happen, but I was like, man, if for the fourth time this blows up in the person's face despite being like patently overpowered, they have to just stop putting it in the game, right? Like we have to be done with it at this point, right? We couldn't try potentially for a fifth time, right?
I still
Yeah.
I still think you have like such an interesting game just keeping it at idols. Like I still think that is such like that you still have the whole social side of idols and finding idols and whatnot to go find them. Where like with these advantages, like most of them are finding it in groups, and obviously, like we said, where they're telling everybody. At the same time, they're just really overpowered, but seemingly nobody knows how to play them. It's just as a viewer, it's just not interesting at all. I guess like on the island, it creates chaos, but it just as a viewer, it just I don't know anybody that's like, oh yeah, this is cool. Even if it works properly, it's such an overpowered advantage. Just do away with it. I just don't understand why they're forcing it down our throat.
Yeah, it's in the 30s they had the seal of vote / extra vote that they really wanted to make work, and they finally got Sarah to like play it in a halfway decent manner. But I guess they're still adding it to the game now with the island ship wheel island trips. But like that was also a twist where it's like just give up. Just like it's not like it's a good idea and concept, but it does not necessarily work in practice.
Just because everybody now strategically plays it to the point where it's, oh, you need it, all right, because no one's gonna like vote away and just lose their vote for no reason. So like, if you're gonna do that, at least change what they're risking. I don't know what it could be, but
Yeah. People like get too cute with it too. Everyone wants to split their own votes with it. And it's like maybe the better thing is just to stack your votes like to get people, but I don't know. People want to be cute.
Yeah. And then even on top of all of that, there's still like the shot in the dark is still a thing that exists that
Right.
has barely come up at all this season, and still through 2.5 seasons of its existence has never been used correctly or used successfully. I guess it's been used. It's been used correctly. It's been played by people who are going to be voted out, but it's never been successfully implemented by a player. So that's another thing where it's just like this is an extra piece of fabric in the game that's adding nothing of value, and like maybe 5 seasons down the road somebody will eventually save themselves with it, but it's like at what cost?
Yeah, and I feel like the or shot in the dark. Don't make them pay with a vote. Just make it like you get one shot to maybe get an idol, and that's it. Because like I think people kind of realize like my biggest currency in the game is my vote, and like it's too much to like completely give up, unless like I know 100% I'm going no matter what.
Yeah, no, 100%. If you're like Zach, at the start of 42, where it's like very clearly gonna be the votes are on you. Like it's 5-1. Like might as well just make it 5-0 and roll a die.
Yeah.
I do think it does add an element to of someone misplaying it and it being like a very a very fun thing. I'm definitely fine with that staying, but like you said, it really adds nothing. Like it's never at any point discussed when they're talking about who they're voting out. Like, oh, so and so might play their shot in the dark. Or I feel like last season before, I feel like that maybe was brought up at least a little bit more. Like I sometimes just completely forget it's even in the game.
Yeah, they need to make it a Plinko. It's always got a Plinko board right next to Jeff, and then everyone has to watch it go down like the Price is Right, and see if they get safe or not.
It'd be a lot more exciting than opening a piece of parchment. Even rolling a die, like a big die.
Yeah, even rolling a die. Yeah, it would be good.
Yeah.
Survivor. These ideas for free, man. Come on.
Well, yeah, it's so odd that they're given a dice to simulate like a 1 in 6 roll when they could just do a 1 in 6 roll.
Yeah.
I don't know. I guess like they don't want the crazy thing to happen where like multiple people use a shot in the dark, multiple people get it, so they want to guarantee that at most one person gets it or whatever. But like I don't know, it's a poorly thought out twist. Like I gave it a chance. I was like cautiously optimistic that it could be interesting the first season or two, but at this point, it's given nothing.
Yeah. All right. You guys want to wrap this one up?
Yeah.
Sure. Yeah, you can follow me on Twitter at DJ Cleverlang. Modern Warfare 2, we're talking about. Got some. Me and Brian, I swear, are going to do a Wicked Good show soon. We're maybe even going to do a House of the Dragon recap discussion with Ben and Brian and myself. So I really want to do that soon. But there's we want to stream some Call of Duty soon. I'm liking it as someone that's not a try hard, but I still feel like I competitively play the game. I really like it. I know some of like the streamers and who are more popular in that community are not as big of fans of it, but I like it. A lot of movies coming out that I'm really excited for. I'm actually like kind of really starting to look forward to Avatar. Even though I think the first one's like it's fine, it's not I think it's more remembered as being a good movie rather than like the technological spectacle it was when it came out. And I feel like that the argument gets lost in the middle of it being a bad or good movie. When really, I think it was fine, but it was technologically insanely impressive.
It was an experience, is how I like to like describe it. Like the IMAX, going to see it in IMAX, like the CGI looking that good. It was like a great experience. I've never watched it on home video. I think that would be a waste of time. You would not get the same experience at home.
It was it was the peak of the 3D movement at theaters and stuff. And I think that came out like right when 3D TVs tried to take off. And I think that was like one of the movies that was like really, they were like, oh, you got to see this on the 3D TV. And I remember looking at it like, this fucking sucks. This TV's 40 inches too big. But I am looking forward to that movie. I think that might be my first trip back to the IMAX out in Reading. I haven't been there in 3 years since long before COVID started. So yeah, a lot more discussions like that. So follow us there, and we hope to have more episodes out soon and streaming and all that. And you'll hear from where. But yep, that's it for me.
Avatar is responsible for making us. Probably, I assume this is a shared experience, making us see a lot of movies that were not meant to be in 3D. I saw In the Heart of the Sea in 3D because it was the only showing like available. That movie, agreed. Why was that in 3D?
Yeah, that for me, I saw the Polar Express in theaters in 3D.
Yeah,
Not
why?
Necessary.
No, and yeah, like Dylan said, they just could not recreate a good 3D experience at home at all.
It's also just an overrated thing, 3D.
Yeah, agreed.
So I had somebody who had a 3D home TV.
Oh, okay, sorry.
It was not well, no, I mean I didn't. This was like growing up. My parents bought
Ben didn't buy it.
He like turns around. There's like glasses on the table and stuff like that.
No.
He's like, I still think it could work.
It was like I tried it once with like a movie, and it was a terrible experience, and never used a 3D capability.
Was it like the ones that had like the battery powered glasses too?
No, it was like it wasn't. It was like halfway between that and like the red and blue ones that you wear with like the shitty whatever.
I just remember being at Best Buy and they're like, "Oh, you need to try these glasses. They need batteries." Yeah. Why? Why do these glasses need batteries?
The glasses, to my memory, did not need batteries, but they were just like normal kind of. They looked like thick sunglasses.
And yeah, we got fucking. Sorry, we're off the rails now. Then they made 3DS. Why? Why? I've not had this on the 3D setting since I got it. No point at all.
Yep. I don't get it. I think at a certain point, like AR and VR will be like pretty, more like will be way more universal than it is now. But like 3D is not.
Not
it's not a positive. It's not a positive viewing experience. The pros and cons are never going to line up in a good way.
I love VR. I think it's sick, and I also appreciate Mark Zuckerberg completely torpedoing his company in the, you know, trying to achieve better VR. Like it's not going to work out for him, but some other company down the line will pick up from the ashes all the advancements that Meta makes.
The PSVR 2, which is coming out in February, looks pretty impressive. But
yeah, I bet it will be. The first one was cool.
All right, that was your preview for Wicked Good Show this week.
This really is what Wicked Good Show is.
That was a snippet we took out. We weren't just talking about that. Ben will be on as a guest.
We should do an episode just like what were the dumbest technologies that they tried to make us get in like the 2010s.
I will say, I went to a 4D theater once, and that was cool.
What is that?
That's like where the seats move and they shoot like mist and stuff at you. I saw Last Jedi there, and it was that was interesting.
Oh, was it the Jordans?
No, it was like an AMC, I think, or a showcase, one of those out in like Saugus. It was the only one in Massachusetts that had it. Yeah, and I wanted to try it, and I fell out of the seat. Dude, because it's elevated, and you got to like step up into the seat, and I was like kind of leaning forward, and like at the beginning of Last Jedi, they were like, it's a space battle sequence, and so it starts immediately moving, and it just like projected me forward. And it was
horrible. That's so shitty.
I like fell like 4 feet to the ground. It was
oh my god.
Have you never gone to one of those, Brian?
I've never not outside of like an amusement park.
Yeah.
Disney World has stuff like that, but I've never been to a movie theater. Well, I went to the Jordans that has the vibrating seats.
Butt kickers.
The butt kickers, which that's actually where I saw Avatar, in whichever one of that. And the IMAX that we saw Ready Player One in was sick, by the way.
Yeah,
is that the one in Reading?
That's the Reading one too. Funny enough, I think that movie was also 3D when we saw it.
It definitely was. The last gasp of a dying format.
I will say, not to drag it out, 3D in IMAX though is significantly better than a regular theater.
It's better, but it's like
unnecessary.
Yeah.
For sure.
I think I think I saw one of the Shrek sequels in 4D, like Shrek 3 or something. Yeah.
Oh, I'm sure they sprayed some foul-smelling thing at some point, right?
Like that was the primary purpose, I think, of the movie.
Yeah. The last thing I ever wanted to do is smell Shrek. So, thanks.
You don't want to be immersed?
No, I'm good. Thank you. But yeah, this is a preview for Wicked Good Show, as Dylan said, where we just talk about the most random shit, and it's very fun. So yeah, please subscribe to this channel for that. And thank you guys so much for subscribing and getting us to 100 subscribers. Unfortunately, it was 2 days too late, and YouTube took away the ability to make custom URLs. And apparently, they're going to send me an email to make a handle, like a Twitter handle for it. But will we get the @BetterRadio handle before the other Better Radio channel gets it? Who knows? Probably not with our luck, to be honest. So we're going to have to come up with something else.
So not thank you. This is your fault for not subscribing sooner. Literally 2 days sooner we could have had it. So thanks for nothing.
Insane how that worked out, but not even surprised.
Pretty standard, honestly.
Yep.
Yeah. I guess you can follow me on Twitter @BenSharon. I haven't really used elon.com recently.
Yeah.
I'll like go on there and scroll through it, but yeah, I just don't know. Not really super social media. Like I spend a lot of my time on Reddit now.
Yeah.
I don't even post or comment very often on Reddit. I just like browse. Yeah, that's not a positive experience either, but it's
no.
it's somehow less negative than my Twitter experience on average. So
yeah, I'll be on. You can follow me on Twitter also at @thefakememar, SPMARR. And I didn't think, like, I've been on Twitter since 2007. I've seen every change firsthand. I didn't think that Elon Musk would really like ruin Twitter. And then the first week that he's owned it, it's very clear he's going to ruin Twitter and like drive it into the ground. So disappointing, but not surprising.
Yeah, that's when we hop on Truth Media or Truth Social.
Yeah, Truth Social. Hey, we gotta get our truths out, retruth each other,
We
all
truth,
that
that's
stuff.
what it is, yeah.
Mhm.
I might create a Wicked Good Show account on there just to get some subscribers.
I don't want to end up on like in a watch list just for like putting an email in there. You know what I mean?
Well, you think the FBI cares about domestic white supremacists?
Oh, that's true. That's true. They're gonna let it slide. Oh man. But Dylan, did you say your Twitter handle? Yeah.
I did, yeah. DJ Cloverlang on Twitter. Then we got into that whole thing of
Sorry,
3D
yeah,
TVs that
yeah.
we're just getting off of.
Oh man. But yeah. Also, Wicked Good Sports. I talked about the Premier League for like an hour today before doing this podcast. I've pretty much worked, talked about Premier League, edited that, ate dinner, watched Survivor, and now I'm back recording again. My voice will probably be real bad tomorrow, but it's fine for now. So yeah, go check that out. We did a video about the Nets firing Steve Nash and hiring Ime Udoka. It got like 1,400 views already, which is nice. Comments are pretty mad at us for calling Kyrie out, but you know, it is what it is.
It's racist.
Yeah, I guess. But yeah, so go check out that channel. We work hard on it, and yeah, that's all I get.
Yeah. Until next time, we'll be talking about episode 8 a week from now. As long as we're all good to go, because
Yeah, who knows?
Who knows?
What'll happen.
Hopefully a good episode. Until then, have a good one.